Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial. In the last video we saw how to create a strategy and a factory pattern in Python using OOP, and now we are going to implement the functional approach to implement these patterns and to see how easily we can also implement these patterns in functional programming. Again, on the left side, the strategy pattern, and on the right side, the factory pattern. You already know the difference between them. In the OOP, the main difference between the two patterns is that the strategy pattern changes the behavior of an object at runtime, while the factory pattern creates different types of objects at runtime. And in the functional paradigm, let's say, the main difference between the two patterns is that the strategy pattern changes the behavior of a function at runtime, while the factory pattern creates different functions at runtime. So it's the same approach, but using functions and not objects. Although functions are also objects, but you know. So in the left side, the strategy tutorial, we are basically having a pay function that receives a callable function, and that function has a float argument and the amount you want to pay. Then we just call the function with the amount. Then we need to define the different payment methods, our strategies. The functions defining that we are paying with credit card, paying with a debit card, with PayPal. I don't know why I have pay_Paul, but okay. With PayPal, then with cash. Then we simply need to call the pay function and give it the strategy that you want. That is a function receiving a given amount. So we send the credit card and then the amount, and inside we put all together. We can pay with the credit card strategy, then we can pay with debit card strategy, and so on. We are changing the behavior of a function, the pay function, on runtime. And let's save that and execute. As you can see, we are paying with credit card, debit card, PayPal, and cash, of course. And now our factory pattern, that is pretty similar, but you know, you are creating new functions and different functions at runtime and not changing the way that function behaves. This time, to be a little bit fancier, we have a dictionary with our types of factories, okay, that creates a given function that receives an amount. That amount is a float, and then it prints, okay, you paid some amount with credit card, debit card, and so on, and it's a functional factory example. Then we have our factory context. Basically, it's a function that creates our factory. You give it the type and you go to the payment methods and grab the given function product, let's call, or outcome from the factory. Okay, so if you give it the type of cash, it will return this function here. Okay, and then we have the pay function. This pay function receives a factory and an amount, and basically it will execute that function that will be returned from this with a given amount. And again, as you know, the factory pattern needs to have dedicated types of outcomes or products from factories, so you can use that and you are not reusing the same context, as we call it. We have a context to credit card, debit card, PayPal, and cash. So you are using the factory context with a type, credit card for the credit card context. The credit card will then return that function, and we can use the pay method with that credit card, and then you use the amount of it. Okay, the big difference here between these two approaches is on the right side, on the factory, you create a function using a factory, but you don't have control of it, and you just say pay with this type of product or outcome from the factory and pay with 100. We have a context of a credit card, and you know that using this context you will pay with credit card, but you don't know how to pay. Okay, and on the strategy side you implement that and you are saying, okay, pay and use this strategy. I know how to perform it is this way, so use that. These are the strategy and factory patterns in functional paradigm. Please subscribe my channel, give me a like as well on the video, and I see you in the next tutorial.